Welcome back, my friends, to my Media Museum and part 2 of box 6 of our 45 RPM vinyl records. In the last episode, I showed you this 45, but I failed to show you the jukebox tag that came with it. So I got my sleeve upside down and forgot to show that. So I want to take a quick second there at the start to show you that before starting off proper here for this episode with Aerosmith, Chip Away the Stone. And this is from Jim, so this is, it's clearly marked as the A side. The B side being SOS, which was, I think off the first album, if not the second one. But it was definitely a much earlier song. And if I can remember correctly, Chip Away the Stone was a B-side off a previous 45, and they added it to Jim's as the official first album release of it. And that's probably why it was chosen to be the A-side of the 45. So, moving on from there, we've got a really clean copy of Gemini Dream, the Moody Blues. I say clean, it's a bit dusty and staticky, but man, look at those grooves. They're nice. It's a good copy. I've got a couple of copies of this one that just look dismal. So, beside that being Painted Smile. So, this was a nice addition to get a good copy of that one on 45 for the collection. And then I believe we've covered this one in a previous episode as well, Jackson Browne's Stay. But it does have a different B-side, and this is a spun gold reissue. This is a different version from what I had showed you previously, so I wanted to show it again. Plus, it's unusual because I don't recall very many 45s that have a completely different label on the B-side. And the B-side is Here Comes Those Tears Again, which up next, we're going to have the original 45 release of that one, and you'll see that it clearly is on a normal type label, and it is marked the A side. So Here Come Those Tears Again was originally an A side, but it was used again as a B side for Stay. Then on the B side of the original release of that song, we got Linda Palmoa. I don't know that song real well. It says it's from the album The Pretender. I'm a casual Jackson Browne fan. I'm aware of his connection to the Eagles, and I do like him, but I don't know his albums, that well. He's one that I got into later. I didn't like him back in the day. It was something that over time, I started appreciating a lot of other bands. I previously talked about the Beatles and the Beach Boys and how I wasn't into them when I was growing up, but I got into them in my young adult life. Well, Jackson Browne was later adult life. Anyways, moving on, we've got a promo copy here of Huey Lewis and the Power of Love. So it's pretty cool to have that on a promo, but both sides are the exact same. Both sides are marked A, so it's a double A with no difference. 353 on one side, 353 on the other. So there's a Power of Love promo. I know that I've got a Power of Love normal release and may have already shown it in a previous video, but I do know I've got the official release of that one. And here's another interesting one. This song was really brought to my attention by Ozzy Osbourne when he did a cover of it on his covers album, Under the Covers, and it was the fourth disc of this Prince of Darkness box set, but Fire by the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Interesting song. I'd never really heard of it before Ozzy did the cover of it, and then I looked this one up. But the B-side of this is interesting because it is Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs during Ring Dang Do. So this clearly is not an original. It's marked the B-side, and it is a mono. You'll notice that the A-side was marked A-side and was a stereo. So that seems like a really odd choice for them to put on a B-side there. It's like just randomly grab something off the shelf, guys, and throw it on there. We need something to fill her up. And this is kind of an interesting sleeve, the way they tried to make it kind of 3D, like it was busting out. Kind of cool. I've got a few of them, but I want to take a minute to point that one out. And it doesn't match the disc here. The disc is Stevie Nicks doing Rooms on Fire. Yeah, I got it right. Oftentimes I say Room's on Fire, but I got it right that time. Yay! Room's on Fire. And the B side of that one was Alice, which is not a Stevie Nicks song that I'm particularly aware of. It says it's from the other side of the mirror, so it probably is. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they get them wrong, but I pointed a few of those out. But anyways, moving on, we've got a really nice one to add to the collection here. Grand Funk Railroad doing Closer to Home. Not one of my more favorite Grand Funk songs, but I do love Grand Funk Railroad. They did a lot of great stuff, and Closer to Home was off of the first album, I do believe, and it was one of their big hits. But it's interesting because we've got a cover of Gimme Shelter from the Rolling Stones on the B side of that. So that's really cool to have. And this is clearly a reissue. It's got, originally released in August of 71 for that song and July of 70 on this song. So they were not originally together on the disc when Close to Home came out. And then here's that other one that I talked about in the first episode of this box. And it's funny that one was a Ringo Starr and this is a Wings one. But you can see how this one wasn't labeled very well either. And there again, you could think it got hot and the label slid, but no. Look at how it's cut. It's cut, as it was applied that way. And what's even more interesting is the B side is just as bad. So they had some real problems with the labeling machine that day. And I think it's kind of comical. It really even cut into their logo on that side. Kind of comical that it was both Beatles related. And then here's one that I wanted to point out. I know this was in a previous video, and I meant to mention it then, but I'm not sure if I did or not. But In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. This is an oldie series, so this is a reissue copy. I think I had an original copy in the previous video, but the point I want to make here is that In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was actually written as In the Garden of Eden. And that's the way the song was meant to be recorded. Story has it that they were down at the bar during recording and getting drunk, and they were having some fun, and they came up with this In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida alternate lyric for the song, and they ran with it, and it stuck. And so if you always wondered what In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida meant, it doesn't mean anything. It actually is In the Garden of Eden. So there you go. B-side of that is Soul Experience. So I like to, share some of the history of some of these things as I can. I think I've made it clear that these are all one-take, unscripted videos. It's just like we're hanging out together and we're talking, except for it's one-sided because I can't hear you. But it's fun. I really love doing these 45s, by the way. Just love doing these. These are my favorite videos to make. Leonard Skinner doing What's Your Name? Little Girl. That's a really good song of theirs. And the B-side being I Know Little, which I'm familiar with that song too. I did get into Southern rock. It's the good stuff anyways. Not like in country. You might think that's a little odd, but it's just the twangy stuff that I don't really like. The nasally, twangy country stuff that I don't care for. I don't have a problem with even like folk music and stuff, but I just don't really like the twangy things. So, sorry if you can hear that. My neighbor just fired up the lawnmower. Thanks, guy. I had the high school band playing a little earlier, so that held me up today. Okay, here we go. Cheap Trick, Don't Be Cruel, which is obviously a cover of the Elvis song. And the B-side of this is I Know What I Want, live. And that's recorded at Daytona Beach, Florida. I believe this is a non-album bonus live track. So that makes it kind of cool 45 to get your hands on there. And then this one, I'm going to show the B-side first because I like it so much better. The Bangles doing Hazy Shade of Winter, which was a Simon and Garfunkel song. I think it was written by Paul Simon. I'm not sure if Art Garfunkel was involved in the writing of it or not, but they definitely recorded it originally. and this was taken from the Less Than Zero soundtrack. Now this is marked as a remix, so it may slightly differ from the version that's on the soundtrack album for Less Than Zero, but I love this. This is a really, really great cover song. There's some cover songs that don't impress, there's some that really do, and I really was impressed with that one. I really enjoyed that one. And then probably the A side, but it could have been B. It's not marked well for us. Manic Monday, which I know is a big hit for the Bangles. So being that one's from a movie soundtrack and one's a huge hit, it's kind of hard to tell if this was the original Manic Monday 45 with that on the B side, or if they reused the track as the B side. So take it for what that is. Here is one of my favorite Foreigner songs, Blue Morning, Blue Day. Don't know why it didn't make it on the records. It was released on a 45. Don't know, why it didn't make it on there. And only 10 tracks on records, there would have been plenty of room for them to throw it on there. But I love Blue Morning, Blue Day. And I remember when their Greatest Hits album records came out, it wasn't on there. I was shocked. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the B-side of this, I Have Waited So Long, which was actually another song of theirs that got a fair amount of radio play. So they're not really marked. This says STA, and that says STA. So you tell me. I do think Blue Morning, Blue Day is the better song there, for no doubt. And then, wrapping this episode up, we've got an interesting one here, with Steely Dan doing FM No Static at All from the FM soundtrack. That was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed that movie, and this was definitely a really good theme song for it. But the B-side of the 45 is FM No Static at All Reprise. So I'm not sure if this was at the end of the movie in the credits, or it was even in the film at all. It says it's from the soundtrack, so interesting to have a reprise on the B-side. So, come on back for part 3. We'll see you then.